sun is high, we're feeling good. In Miami where the spirit's understood. With Bobby Finn's top leading the crew. We're gonna show you what these Dolphins do. Fins up high, the crowd's roaring loud. In the city with the blue and aqua proud. Finn Stanza's here with the play-by-play. We're getting ready, it's game day. Are you ready for some football? Miami Dolphins standing tall. Are you ready for some football? Showtime at the Hard Rock, y'all. From the tailgate to the field of green with the best fans you ever seen. Bobby's got the scoop, hot off the press. In Miami, we roar to impress. Play up stats and pregame chat.
Good morning, Dolphin fans. Welcome to the Dolphins pregame show on the Fins Talk Sports Network. I'm your host, Finn Stanza, and with me is my buddy Steve Malloy and Greg. How you both doing?
Doing good. How's everybody?
Well, I'm feeling great because a Miami team won yesterday or this morning, but it wasn't the Miami Dolphins. Those cardiac hurricanes, they came in like a hurricane, went out west, and somehow, some way, very Dolphins like from 2 years ago, down and overcame adversity and came back and won a football game. So that gives me a little bit of a high. And that intro that Bobby produces for us is so hyped up. You sort of forget how bad the season has gone for the Miami Dolphins. It sort of renews your life on Sunday, right, Steve?
Oh.
That's a renewal.
Absolutely.
So
Guys, I feel like it's a new day. It's a new day.
Right?
It's another game.
It's a new day.
Yeah.
Honestly, guys, don't forget to smash like and subscribe. Guys, don't forget to check out Caneswear because of the Hurricanes win. Trust me, I guarantee you sales are going to spike at Caneswear. Don't forget to check them out at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida, or check them out at caneswear.com. They have a lot of new stuff there. You can check out Dolphins, Inter Miami, who's doing phenomenally well. Honestly, the team that's struggling the most in this city, it's not Inter Miami, it's not the Heat. It's not we're in Marlins territory right now with the Dolphins. If we lose this football game today, we're going to be in Marlins territory. That's how sad it is. The difference is Marlins have won a couple of World Series since the last time Dolphins sniffed anything. But guys, we're going to be positive today. We're going to find that silver lining. Guys, today we're going to Foxborough against Jacoby Brissett, and much aligned my New England Patriots team, but it is at home. And what are your initial feelings heading into today's game? Go for it, Greg.
I'm one of those people that says you got to show me before I start believing things. And, and one of the positives to come out of the Seattle game last week, right, was they actually did score more than what they had been averaging on the season. So they had averaged 11, they scored 12. Hey, all right, we're trending upwards, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That was against the Titans, by the way, not the Seahawks, the Titans.
Oh, Titans. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I don't see them scoring points, and if you don't score points, you can't have a very positive feeling, even going up and playing a very bad football team. All right. So it's a toss-up. This game is a toss-up, and there's no reason why it should be a toss-up. New England is in a complete rebuild scenario. Miami at the beginning of the season was supposed to be contending for a championship, okay, with this roster. And we're basically both 1-3, and the loser of this game at 1-4, it's a tough road to hoe then. That's bad. So Steve and I were talking pre-show. There should be 80 runs in this game. Each team should be running the ball 40 some odd times. And it's basically who stops it and who doesn't. And that's what's going to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen in this game. I really don't. All I know is I'd be shocked if a team scored 20 points.
Steve?
Yeah. Well, the only silver lining that I see is there's still 13 games left. So we still have some time. We still have some time to make some adjustments. We still have a time to do that. And guess what? In week 8, our franchise quarterback is coming back. So, there's a silver lining there, right?
Oy.
Yeah, that's a silver lining, but do we go from scoring 11 or 12 points a game to what, 17? I mean, does that does that move the needle for us? I don't know, because the last 6 games with Tua, we weren't scoring money points. So it's an interesting week. Let's put it this way. This will be an interesting week.
Oh, honestly, for me, it's like every year, every week I go, am I going to take everything off? Am I not going to walk around, not be embarrassed to be a Dolphins fan? I remember I used to walk outside a year ago, 2 years ago. People say we're Dolphins gear. They want to stop me in traffic. Now I'm the guy who wears the Dolphins gear, but wears the dark sunglasses and doesn't want to be seen. Honestly, the one thing about this team, which is really interesting over the last week after the last game, is a lot of people who are sharing this hopium, but the fact that, once we get Tua back, but at the same time, we weren't very good with Tua. I was very adamant that when Tua being on the sideline has actually been a distraction. Like, I don't like seeing Tua on the sideline when we should be focusing on the rest of the development of the football team. But for me, this week, what I was actually nice to see was that all the networks were very much focused on the fact that Greer and McDaniel are the key problems. It's not necessarily the talent on this team, because when you look at the talent on this team on paper, today we're going to have Teron Armstead back. We're going to have Raheem Mostert back, who's been the leader of the zone running, who has hardly played pretty much one snap. You're going to have OBJ, so you're going to have a third wide receiver, and all that. Braxton Berrios maybe will have a decent game because he's the birthday boy, that kind of thing. But you don't have Jordan Poyer, but he hasn't made a big deal to us today. Like, to put in Marcus May, you're interchanging it today. And Kendall Fuller will be back and such. But the problem for me is, I thought about this morning. Mike McDaniel reminds me of that kid who comes from we've all had this, where the kid is not very popular in school because he looks different, he's scrawny, and his parents come from a lot of money, and the way I'm saying how he looks on the sideline, and they get him a fancy car and the fancy drinks and the fancy belt and the fancy look and the capris and the $500 shoes, the fancy glasses. And it's all material because he's trying to look cool, but down inside, there's this ineptitude, and it's now appearing on the field. At the beginning, it looked cool. It was hip. It was Miami. It was South Beach. Now he's literally stuck in his own way, still trying to be that cool kid, but everyone's read into him now. Like, people are bored of him right now. The only people I think who have the hopium right now are the people who are, we all want our Dolphins team to win. But I guarantee you there's a little bit of us right now, and I've been like this for a while, I don't want them to lose. But if they lose, it sort of reiterates what I've been trying to say for the last year and a half, is that this is a guy who does not adjust. Last night, the Hurricanes, as bad as they were from the last 2 games, they found a way to overcome adversity. Everyone keeps on referring back to Tua in the Arizona game. I don't want to hear about the Arizona game or us going toe-to-toe against the Chargers last year, the first game of the year, or the Baltimore game. Every week is a new week, and you should be able to write everything up and move forward. Unfortunately, our team has gotten worse every single solitary week. I think we actually played worse last week than we did against the Seahawks, because the Seahawks had their full roster in theory on offense. You're playing in a very rough crowd. Last week you were at home, and the first quarter wasn't even over yet, and you were being booed off the field. That's my concern right now. What do you guys think about the narrative this week about Greer and McDaniel?
Yeah, I definitely. I think Greer is definitely a big part of the problem, and so is McDaniel. And I'll even go and take it a step farther. I think Ross has a lot to do with this too, because he's the one that signs the paychecks, right? So you can't just eliminate him. I know he's done great. He's renovated the city, and not the city, the stadium and all that kind of stuff. And we got the best facilities for employment and all that. So what? What has that done for us? Kansas City has the worst, but who won the Super Bowl last year? Kansas City.
Who wants to live in Kansas City? Also, who wants to live in Kansas City, right?
Yeah,
I heard they have good steak. I heard they have good meat.
Good steak, good barbecue.
Real good barbecue. Real good barbecue. But the bottom line is, Greer's the problem. McDaniel's the problem. Look, we gotta also we gotta shine some light on the players too. Okay. Yeah. McDaniel was right about one thing. The players are not executing. Whether it's bad play calling or whatnot, we see it on the field. The players are not executing whatever plays called. Tyreek, your number one receiver on the team, the number one receiver in the NFL, right? Highest paid wide receiver combination, Waddle and Tyreek, and they can't catch balls. Then you've got Ingold. He was a fullback, can't block. Tight ends can't block. Where's John O. Smith?
But McDaniel puts that on him, saying, "Well, our offense is basically our plays because we're struggling in games. We can't incorporate them to the offense." Well, actually, that's BS, because when you're down, your simple play should be going to your tight end.
Exactly. Running backs, we can't put too much emphasis on the running backs on Achane. He's a small guy. Jalen Wright really is an exact copy of an Achane, to be honest with you. He might have a little more power or whatnot. But when you don't have any blocking, when you're using second teamers as your offensive line, when Armstead is out, most of them are second teamers, right? You can't expect too much out of your running game. So it's the whole team. It starts from the owner to Greer to the coaching to the players executing. And I'll be quite frank with you. I don't really know if Mike McDaniel has got a grasp of this locker room. Because if you listen to these players talking and you read between the lines, I think there's a lot of finger pointing going on right now.
Yeah, and I come back to basically McDaniel. All right, we can complain about Ross and his ownership. We can complain about the roster that was put together and stuff like that with Greer. Okay, we're in season now. Okay, this is the head coach. The head coach basically sets the direction once that season starts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot have as many pre-snap penalties as this offense does. That's coaching. Okay. You can't be constantly putting your backups in a position to fail. That's coaching. And that's what I'm seeing. Okay. You have a backup quarterback. All right. You played 4 quarterbacks this year. 3 of them have been backups. And all 3 of those backups have had the same issues essentially up until this point. They can't call plays. They can't get lined up. They can't snap the ball when it's supposed to be snapped. All right. That's because the coaches made everything so damn complicated that they can't pick it up. That's on coaching. All right. All of the other things. Okay. Defense. All right. Take it away from McDaniel. Let's go to the defensive coordinator. 4 games in a row now, we've had linebackers not filling the correct hole, allowing big runs. 4 games in a row. All right. That's coaching. I'm sorry. That's coaching. That's not players and things like that. And if the players aren't doing the right thing, you either got to take them out and put somebody else in or not playing them anymore. But that's coaching. It's not like this is it's not like these are one-off things. All right. They happen over and over and over again every single game. Coaching is an issue. And I think finally this week, in the national media and in the local media that I've been looking at, and some of the interviews and things like that I've seen with McDaniel, they're finally acknowledging coaching is not very good right now. Yeah, and that's something that, Evan, to your credit, you've been pointing out for a while now. Well over a year now. Okay.
The way you guys are hard on Greer, just what it is for me, for both of you, and I think Steve, you've ranted about the foundation of the roster and what people think of Tua. Mm-hmm. Well, my problem is that when you just saw it with Robert Saleh, you guys happened to catch the game. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is having a struggle, but when you don't have Breece Hall in the lineup and you're putting in this guy Allen, and you have 3rd and 3 and 4th and 2, and you run the same play where the guy's running the ball behind the line of scrimmage and you're not moving forward. Any play when you have a 1 or 2 yards, if you are starting your play 3 or 4 yards back, you are not unless you're Derrick Henry or Walter Payton or Dion or Barry Sanders, or Ricky Williams, you're not going to do that. You're not going to get that chunk yards. It's a lack of the fact that they're looking at their playbook. You ever notice Mike McDaniel is always looking with his head down at a tablet after he makes a mistake? Like, there's no punch. There's no reaction, like good try, whatever. He's so lost in his thing. He doesn't talk to his players when they come onto the bench. He doesn't engage with them. Like, if you notice, Tyreek Hill last week was yelling at either Welker or him, and he brushes it off like it's nothing. That's my concern with the coach, is the fact that, like me and Steve have always pressed, and I thought this would happen more with Weaver, is I want a punch in the mouth. I want coaches to get upset. I want coaches to get annoyed. And the fact of the matter is, the only person who should be banned off television, and I'll never listen to him again, is Dan Orlovsky. Because if he says one more time, well, look how bad the offense is without Tua, well, I'm sorry. That's like telling, and you guys are going to agree with me on this, you have a teacher who's teaching the class, right? My kids go to school, and unfortunately, the child is sick. The teacher's sick and won't be there for a week. You're telling me that the substitute teacher should not be able to come in and adapt the teaching plan if it's not exactly the way she teaches to work for that classroom and those students? Mike McDaniel is an awful teacher because he creates a game plan for one person, but then the next time somebody else comes in to try and learn, you can't teach it to him. That's not the way things are. You guys are in different jobs. You hire people to train. You train new employees. You should be able to train your employees with a guide and a plan pretty quickly to get them up to speed. And if it's going to take them longer, you do baby steps. You don't just throw them the heavy book of 500 pages in 1 week. You dumb it down. He doesn't dumb things down.
Yeah, and that's been my problem the last 2 weeks with Skyler in Seattle and with Huntley here at Tennessee, right? You have to step back. You cannot expect a guy who's been running the system going into his third year now, thinking about it every single day with these other guys. You give them everybody wants to make football out to be more complicated than it is. It's really not. Okay? It's really not. If you have backups in, you simplify things. Do the top 6 or 7 things that this player can do well, and you run it over and over and over again. All right, defenses, if you're good at it, defenses won't stop it. They'll contain it a little bit, but you're playing bad enough teams right now to where if you have a talented enough roster, doing a basic 6 or 7 things should be good enough to get you wins. And right now they're not close. They're not close to winning games, and that's why I got a bad feeling about today. All right, well, I just really don't have a good feeling about.
Well, I want to ask Steve a question. Yeah. Steve, the whole narrative about the top 5th pick. The one thing, and I want to get your feedback on, Tua is a capable quarterback because he's a game manager. We want me and you and Bobby said, let you be Chad Pennington. We don't want you to be more than that. Then you use your weapons to your ability. Everyone talking about how you have to go get a quarterback in the top 5 of the draft. If you really think about it, CJ Stroud has had a bad game last week, 2 weeks ago, but there's no guarantee at the top of the draft that you're going to have a superstar quarterback. And let me just tell you this right now. The 3 top quarterbacks in the NFL right now weren't even top 5 picks. That was Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson. The quarterbacks that people would want were not even in the realm of being in the top 5 of the NFL. So people saying, well, the Dolphins have to go draft their next quarterback. Look at the people who do well. Kirk Cousins had a great game last game. Brett likes him. We all like how he runs a game. He has his moments. Not top pick. But my point is that just because you have a top pick doesn't mean you're going to get a top quarterback. It is a lottery. You don't know the skill set of it. Look at Caleb Williams is the best guy in the draft. Number 1 pick. Jaden Daniels is kicking his butt this week. The first couple games of the year. Bryce Young, all to say, I don't want to hear the narrative of where the Dolphins should finish. I think it's a structural problem because if you had a coach who if I woke up today and told me I have to go play a game and I have Tyreek Hill, OBJ, Teron Armstead, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, and I have on the defense, I have Jalen Ramsey, and I would have Zach Sealer and Calais Campbell and that group. Emmanuel Ogbah and Jordan Brooks. I'd find a way to. This game shouldn't even be close. We should win by 50. against a team that's trying to redevelop. I don't care who the quarterback is, because all the quarterback has to do is give the ball to his playmakers up the middle of the seams between the numbers. We're making this bigger than what it is. So I don't want to hear about, we have to go draft another quarterback. My concern about Tua isn't his skill set. It's the fact that how he's utilized by Mike McDaniel, and the fact that he tries to play hero ball and he's not learning from his skill set and what his abilities are. Like there's certain, like Drew Brees never did this. He's Drew Brees in a build, and Drew Brees never ran with the football with his head down. Drew Brees knew that when the play was there, he threw it away. This guy is trying to play like he's Josh Allen with the football in his size. So let me ask you about that narrative. Oh, we have to go get another quarterback in the draft. What are your thoughts on that? I disagree with that. I think that's not the solution.
Yeah. No, not at this point. It's not the solution. Look, Tua's a good quarterback, and I'm going to give a little benefit of the doubt that Tua, he wasn't developed properly. He wasn't developed from the start. Either him or McDaniel did not develop him properly. They did not develop when you develop a football player, and Greg knows this, you don't just work on his strengths. You work on his weaknesses, right? So when those strengths are taken away, he can counter with his weaknesses because he's worked on his weaknesses, right? Look, if a guy's let me use a basketball analysis. I'm going to take this from my friend TD Finn's talk. This is what he said. He said, if a guy can shoot, if he's 5 for 5 on free throws, but he's 1 for 5 on the 3-point line, from the 3-point line, what are you going to do? You're going to work on the 1-5, right? He's good at the from the free throw line, right? But what McDaniel has done is he's worked on the 5-5 that he's already good at, and he hasn't worked on the 1 from 5 from the 3-point line. So I gotta give Tua the benefit of the doubt on that. He's a good quarterback, and yes, I agree, they're not utilizing him correctly. And you don't need a Tom Brady. You don't need a Mahomes in this offense to function, especially with the talent that's on this team, right? McDaniel needs to develop a playbook, what we call in the military an SOP, a standard operating procedure, right? Everybody goes off that standard operating procedure. But no, he's throwing in all these the smoke screen, the motions, all this movement, and all this kind of stuff. And I get it. He's trying to disguise the weakness, which is his offensive line right now, right? But no, we don't need to go get a quarterback. Not a first-round quarterback, maybe a third, fourth-round quarterback, maybe someone better that can be you should draft a quarterback every year, right? It doesn't
100%.
have to be the first. It doesn't have to be the first round. No, not at all. But yes, I think we should draft a quarterback, but it doesn't have to be a first round. It doesn't have to be a Shakir, or it doesn't have to be a Cam Ward or someone of that nature. Just go out, draft a quarterback, second, third, fourth round or whatever, and develop them to be a good backup. And if he turns out to be a Brock Purdy, so be it. Or Tom Brady, so be it.
Greg, what are your thoughts?
I think you need to draft a quarterback with a different skill set. Okay. And it's not to say that Tua can't develop further and can't be a good quarterback in this league. All right. A lot of what McDaniel does, in my opinion, on this offense is because of a very narrow window of what Tua can and can't do. I mean, Tua can do this. He can't do this. He can't go beyond that stuff, right? And that is when you paint yourself into a box by the limitations of the quarterback, and you design your offense around what the quarterback can and can't do. All right. What I think that the Dolphins need to do is, you're not going to find another Tua skill set anywhere in college or anywhere in the draft, but you can't be afraid to expand the offering either. Can't be afraid to get a big guy who can throw the ball and can move. Okay. And maybe he can't run a timing offense, but you don't have to run a timing based offense either. So Miami needs to upgrade the quarterback position. That's with Tua or without him. And At some point, you have to address that.
Okay. I don't disagree with you. Like, I'm just trying to, my point to make is the fact that people keep on saying, "Oh, go get Cam Ward, Shador Sanders." That's not your solution. Your solution is to find the right skill set for the right players to build a good team. Because if backups can come into this league, whether it's Joe Flacco, whether it's been Sam Darnold at the beginning of the year, whether it's Mason Rudolph last week, no matter who it's been, and to be able to gel in an offense and keep the game reasonable, that's something that we have to find a way to do, because there's too much. The saddest part about all of this is, and that's why a lot of it is on Greer, but in the end, it's on McDaniel, because I think Greer is just a product of the fact that he's given too much power by Ross, and there's no accountability there. And I think Ross just doesn't want to, is afraid to fire people. I don't know what it is. Is in the end, the coach has, if the coach said, "I want a better backup quarterback," the problem, the fact is, that the fact that they had to release Tim Boyle and then to make room for OBJ when there's other elements on this team, and then have to bring him back. The fact that all this jiggy jogging about their team, even though we're very, like we all said, we're very, very good. We're very top heavy on talent, but in the crucial parts of the game, those depth players aren't capable of making the plays. There's a joke that TD wrote on you, because you like to mention TD. Andrew Van Ginkel has more touchdowns than Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Raheem Mostert combined. Yes, Raheem Mostert hasn't been there yet, but your three top offensive players have less touchdowns than a defensive player who should be in your lineup. But that's where, if I'm Mike McDaniel, I don't care. He's so focused on the offense, he forgot about the fact that someone like Andrew Van Ginkel would be important to his football team, or that Robert Hunt was your best zone runner, of zone blocker. Like, those kind of basic things are things that a coach should be very self-aware of. He's so focused on his BFF and everything that he needs and coddling to him, because if I was a proper head coach, I would not, he would be in a dark room. He should have picked up the phone and called Aaron Rodgers and gone to wherever he went on his dark retreat to keep his headaches down, and versus him being in the crowd. I guarantee he's there again today. The first picture we're going to see on the sideline is a picture of not Tyler Huntley. We're going to see Mike McDaniel in his capris and his hoodie for 100 when it's 70 degrees outside, and Tua with his stupid earpiece in. That's what we're going to see. The foundation of the team. Two people who should not have an effect on how the players play on the field. They should be giving them support in order for them to have a game plan to play better. And if Tua is supposed to be helping the quarterbacks, that's the reasoning why he's there. He's done a very good job. He's made the team look more inept. Maybe his plan is to have the quarterback so bad that they really need Tua to come back. You know what I mean? Like, what is this? So for me, it's ridiculous. Like, to see how long, and also, you know what the saddest part for me is that the Jets are not as good as people think they are. They're struggling at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. The last week, the Bills were humbled. You see the development, because they started off great, but you never know what's going to happen. The NFL, the Bengals haven't been great. AFC is one of the weakest AFCs. Compared to last year, this is a very weak AFC. If we would have played normal football, consistent, if we would have played Brian Flores offensive football with Chan Gailey, conservative offense for the last 3 games, we would probably be 2-2 or 3-1. As crazy as that sounds, because in the last 2 games, the Seahawks and the Titans have basically said, "We're letting you come back into the game. Come join us. We're bored. Come play. We have injured players. We're going to let you have field position. We're going to let you win. Make it tight, make it close." No, we don't want. Go away. The game is over by the first quarter. That's my frustration. Is I know right away, I don't know about you guys, within the first 5 minutes of the game, whether the Dolphins are going to be there today. So let me ask you. We know today, we haven't gotten the final active roster. You have Nick Needham back in the lineup, Teron Armstead, Kendall Fuller, Raheem Mostert, OBJ. So, Steve and Greg, do you actually, in your minds, people are saying, "Oh, this is like a big change to the Dolphins." Do you actually think that one of these players is actually going to have a significant impact on whether or not this football game goes well for the Miami Dolphins, or is it really on the head coach?
I'll go first. Man, look, again, I'm gonna go back. I've been a Dolphin fan since 1969, and my gut is telling me no, it's not. But I want to believe. Maybe. I've been off the. I've stopped hopium. I went through withdrawals, this year. But I gotta admit, I took another hopium pill, and I'm back on the hopium again a little bit. But
Why? What did you take? Tell me what your cure is for the sadness.
I want to believe, I want to believe that that OBJ is going to help this team out. He's going to make a difference. I want to believe that Armstead being back and Fuller coming back and is going to make a difference, right? I want to believe that as a Dolphin fan. But my gut's telling me I'm having mixed emotions right now. My gut's telling me it's over. They're not going to win this game today. There's not going to make a difference. McDaniel's gonna do the same thing he's been doing for the last 3 years. The same play calling, the same dumb, stupid, over and over play calling. I just don't. I don't see any changes today, man. I'm sorry, but I want to believe it, but my gut is telling me I got to be, and I always base my feelings when on my show. I'm going to give everyone a dose of reality. Well, I got to give myself a dose of reality right now. And it's very hard for me to give myself a dose of reality. I want to believe that they're going to do well. They're going to win today, and if they do win today, it's going to probably give us false hope again. Some of us, anyway. But no, I don't see any changes, man. I'm sorry to go on a big long rant like this about the question. I know it's a simple question, but I'm just got mixed emotions, man. I'm a true Dolphin diehard, just like you guys are, and I want to believe that they're going to win today. I do, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, but before you ready to go, you know what the difference between your rant right now, which was not very long, is that I asked you a question, and you answered the question, but you did it in a very succinct, positive, no, like not positive, but like reasonable way. Unlike our head coach, which talks so that people fall asleep, and maybe he won't answer the question because they're bored, because that's what he does, right? Like, so Greg, that at least you gave a coherent answer, unlike our head coach. Greg?
Yeah, you said earlier that you think within the first 5 minutes we're going to understand whether they have a shot in this game or not. Okay, let's see the script. Let's see those first 15 plays.
Yeah.
Let's see how many motions we're running. Let's see how many delay of games we get. Let's see how many false starts we get. Let's see how many times Tyler Huntley comes to the line of scrimmage with 5 seconds left on the play clock. Okay, let's see if something's different. And that's what I want to see. I still don't think they're going to score more than 16, 17 points today. All right. And maybe that's going to be good enough because, New England sucks too. All right. So, when you're in a low scoring game, anybody can make a play and anybody can. And that's the reason why, any team can win on any given Sunday. Right. Miami has the better players. If those players make plays, Miami wins this game. But for 3 weeks now, we haven't seen a Miami player make a play. Right. And the sad thing is about this whole season so far, all right, you had one guy make a play in the first week of the season, and if he doesn't make that play, Holland, they're 0-4. All right, and we're in a completely different place right now. Look, even with a backup quarterback, the way this season has played out so far, in these first 5 weeks, you're playing 3 of the 5 worst teams in the NFL. All right. Jacksonville sucks. All right. Tennessee sucks. New England sucks. If you're a championship team, you should be winning these games. And there's a real possibility come 4:30 today, Miami's going to be 1-4. All right.
That's a dose of reality. That's a big dose of reality.
Yeah, that's a dose of reality. And if you look at all of the stats, okay, you take out game 1, Okay, you take out game one. Miami total offense, it was 400 yards in game one. Since then, they've averaged like 230. That would put them below the New England Patriots, who are 32nd in the league in yards per game.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how bad that this offense has been.
Yeah.
And when your offense is that bad in today's scoring, type of league that we're in, you can't have a good feeling going into any game.
No.
I don't. For the purist, for the football purist, I think you might see that today. There might be 110 plays played in this game, and each team throws the ball 15 times. The other 80 plays are going to be runs, because ideally that's what it probably should be.
The one thing I don't want to see today, but I know I'm going to see it, is checkdowns. Like starting your plays behind the line of scrimmage over and over and over and over again. That's my anger. That like to start off behind the line of scrimmage on a constant basis versus moving the ball forward is asinine to me. I just want to give you guys an update because it's official. The Miami Dolphins inactive for today's game is Skylar Thompson will be the emergency quarterback. So then obviously Tim Boyle will be the backup. Joy Poyer will be out, which was expected. So you'll see Marcus May. Jeff Wilson's the surprise today. They chose to go with Jalen Wright over Jeff Wilson. Honestly, when you needed punch yards, I would have used Jeff Wilson, but maybe that means they're going to maybe Jalen Wright will be used more utilized. No Ethan Bonner, no Channing Tindall, no Mauro Kamara, no Andrew Meyer. So that means, surprisingly, Tyus Bowser, who's been there for 4 seconds, who was a Raven, so I guess maybe Weaver sees something in him as well, is playing over Kamara because of no Jalen Phillips. Needham is ahead of Bonner when everyone said Bonner had this great camp. And Jeff Wilson has no injury designation, but he's not there. I could tell you who's out for the Patriots, but I don't think it really matters because it doesn't matter if Jabril Peppers is out because every week that the defense of the other team has not been there, it's been irrelevant. We seem to not take advantage of the fact that their top defensive players are not in the game. So, what are your thoughts about the fact that Needham is in the game? Like, does that even affect you at all that Needham or these people are playing, or is it really nothing? So let me ask you both. What does Raheem Mostert bring to this offense today in a positive way that you think will help ignite this offense? And then secondly, what will OBJ do to help ignite this offense?
I'll let you go first, Greg.
Go for it.
Nothing. Is that?
That's what I was. That's what
I mean, look, people think, all right, and Brett, on our show, that we started basically earlier this year before training camps and everything else. The running back situation in Miami is not good. All right, Mostert's not a good player. He had a good season statistically yet last year.
Second best season in the NFL offensively last year.
I know, but statistically, I mean, he didn't really do anything special.
No.
He carried the ball when he was supposed to carry it, and he got tackled when he was supposed to get tackled. He's not.
It's funny.
He's not
it's funny.
Go ahead. Oh,
go ahead. No, I was just gonna say. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and there was some individuals on there, one individual in particular. I won't make any names because it's very embarrassing. They said Mostert was the top running back in the NFL behind McCaffrey.
Let me guess. Does he work for a newspaper?
No, not a beat writer. He's an actual content creator.
Okay.
But it's ridiculous to think that Mostert is the difference in this offense. No. All right. OBJ. If we can't get the ball to Waddle and Hill, why would we figure out how to get the ball to OBJ?
Jonnu Smith.
I mean, structurally the offense is flawed right now, and it has to be corrected structurally. The names don't matter at this point. Okay. What should happen? Miami should run the ball 30, 35 times today. Okay.
Agreed.
And off of that, you play action and you throw the ball deep. Okay. If you're going to throw the ball 20 times, let's say, 10 of those times better be way down the field. You have three guys who could legitimately get downfield and make a play. Pick one of them out, throw the ball deep, okay? Because what you're doing now is not working. And if you keep running, horizontally as opposed to vertically in this offense, nothing's really going to change. All right. Mostert, going back to Mostert and the running backs, okay? He's not an inside runner. On this team, he looks like to be an inside runner because Achane is definitely not an inside runner.
And have you noticed how bad Achane's been? Somebody, I think a smart guy, because I learned from these smart people, called Devon Achane a mid running back. He's a smart guy. I respect him a lot. Very smart guy. And you want to know what? He's averaging 3 yards a carry. Why? Because structurally, he's being put in positions this year that he wasn't last year. You're trying to turn him into a running back that he's not. You're trying to turn him into a pass catcher that he's not.
I'm
that was Greg, by the way. I'm toot your own horn.
No, I know. I was gonna say Achane's ceiling is Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
Okay. Reggie Bush being that swing out of that hybrid, 8 to 10 touch, 12 touch a game guy where he's getting 5-6 passes a game and he's running the ball half a dozen times a game, right? When Bush came to Miami and tried to be an every down back, his effectiveness went way down. Okay, on a per play basis. That's Achane. Achane's not that guy. That's why we're hoping Wright is that guy.
But they're not utilizing him properly.
But they're not utilizing him properly. Okay, they keep trying to run outside zone when they're getting bad blocking by their tight ends and their wide receivers. You can't run outside zone if you're bad on the outside blocking. So if you got to resort to inside zone, that's not Achane. That's not Mostert. They're not set up to do that. Okay, so quit trying to force a square peg in a round hole. Find somebody else to do it. That's why Wilson has been effective, and Wilson sucks. Okay, but that's why he's been effective, because the inside zone stuff is sort of working. All right, and if you had a better running back, it would look better.
Yeah.
But
guys, let's take a moment before we do anything to say hi to our founder, the reason why we get to do this every week, the guy who gives us access to vent whenever we want. Bobby, we're praying for you, your family. Hope everything went okay yesterday. We love you, brother.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, and if you have energy, even if you want to just come on audio to give your feedback tonight, the three of us would love to have you, because the three of us will also be with you guys 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So, guys, what we'd like to also do on this show, and because we don't want to make it too long of a show, because we've talked about a lot of stuff going on, we're going to be able to set up. We'd like to talk about the keys to the game, and then we actually like to move it up a little bit. We like to go through all the games and see, and I'm going to write down who we chose for each game, obviously, because I'd like to see what we do. We have some fun, see what people are doing well in the NFL, because we're not just Dolphin lovers here. We're also NFL enthusiasts. So we like to always go through all the games and see what we expect and how it could affect the standings and everything like that. So go for it. Steve, what are your keys to today's football game?
Well, I think we've talked about it is run. And when that deep pass is there, hopefully by running, that'll open it up, throw it downfield, and no penalties, please. Play disciplined football, even though they are New England is a bad team. You still can't kick yourself in the butt. So no penalties, run the ball and throw it deep when you can. I know you said 3 keys, but look, our defense has been playing okay. They're probably mid, which is okay. Top 15 defense, they're okay. I'd like to see our defense create some turnovers. I like to see them put pressure on Jacoby, and they got to stop the run. But when Jacoby goes back there to pass, he's a statue, man. He can't run, he can't move. Put pressure on him, make him, make mistakes.
I remember when people wanted him to play, Brissett the people wanted Brissett to play over Tua. That was even better. Greg?
Yeah. No, stop the run. and we talked. Steve and I were talking about this a little bit before the show. All right, if you trust your corners, you got Fuller, you got Needham, you got um, uh, uh, Ramsey, things like that. If you're afraid of New England's passing game, shame on you. All right, put them in man, lock them up, put 8 people in the box, and say we're going to stop the run. That's one. Stop the run. If Miami loses this game, it's because they allowed New England to run the ball 40 some odd times for 150 yards. All right. 2, there are going to be turnovers to be made in this game. Catch the ball, recover fumbles, set your offense up in short fields. We're not generating turnovers on the defense. This team lays the ball on the ground. All right. Stevenson, the running back, is it Stevenson?
Yes, it's Stevenson.
Ramondre Stevenson.
Ramondre Stevenson. That dude fumbles every game.
But he kills
Yeah,
us. He's very good. He's very good against us.
All right. So make sure you cause him to fumble and recover that fumble. And 3, quit going empty on offense. Block it up and get Tyreek Hill, Waddle, and OBJ. Maybe 2 of the 3 I'm fine with. Whatever. Make them work at the level of the secondary, the safety level of the secondary, and throw over the top of the underneath defense. Okay? Block it up. Protect with 8. All right? Have 2-man routes and isolate a safety. Simplify the game. Simplify the game. Make plays. And then hope you can win a slugfest. That's what's going on here.
Yeah. For me, it's really simple. The defense we need to score first. The Dolphins need to have that sense of leading. They were talking about it in the Vikings game against the Jets. We haven't led a football game. The Vikings, they have the worst. People are giving credit to Flores, but to give you guys a stat, they have the worst pass defense in the NFL, the Vikings. The reason why the defense has been so good is because they've had a lead for all but 3 minutes and 40 something odd seconds so far after 4.5, 5 games already. It's crazy. So for me, the Dolphins have to score first. The defense needs to give a short field as much as possible. And the other key thing is the Dolphins punt the ball. I don't care. If it's anything greater than a 50-yard field goal, Mike McDaniel either go for it or punt the ball. Like if it's a 50-yard field goal, let Sanders go for it. It's a nice day today. If it's 51 or 50 or more, like 51, punt the football. And don't be stupid with these screen passes, because in the end, Gerard Mayo is a defensive guy. He's been in that system for so long. I'm not worried about this offense. I'm worried about their defense. So don't make plays on the offense that give the chance for the defense to hurt you in this football game. Because if you give them a short field or you do something stupid, they're just going to give Jermonde Stevenson the ball. And if he runs up the middle, David Long, if Anthony Weaver doesn't learn to adjust to how he allocates his linebackers, because for me, Jalen Phillips has been good, but in the end, it's about our linebacking core. It's about David Long. It's about Jordan Brooks. It's about Duke Riley. Like, no mistakes. Just play strong defense. That's really, for me, that's what we need to do today. The penalties, for me, I don't really consider that a problem, because in the end, that's not on the players. That's on McDaniel. Because if Huntley, when I watch these games and I see these guys going back and forth with 6 seconds left, Tyler Huntley and Tim Boyle and Skylar Thompson are nervous that they're going to get a delay of game penalty or waste a timeout, so they're rushing the play. I saw yesterday, watching the games in college football, you see the guys have time to clap, they have time to motion people, they have 15 seconds to start calling the play. Tua starts calling the play, and all these quarterbacks with 10 seconds left, 6 seconds left. It's like you literally, for me, I have this mentality. If you're 15 minutes, if you get somewhere 10 minutes early, I'm 15 minutes late. Always be on time with your plays. Give your quarterback and your offense time to get the plays ready, to make the defense nervous. If you're there and then the defense is waiting for you to get ready, you're giving them the advantage before you even snap the football.
Yeah. So
that's really, for me, where we're at with that. So guys, don't forget to like to subscribe. We really appreciate you. Now we're going to go through the NFL games, because that's what's going on. Just to let you know, I don't have all the updates yet, but Aaron Rodgers got hit pretty bad, and he was limbering off the field. The trainers had to bring him off, so we don't know exactly what's going on with there. So you want to an unmobile quarterback with a crappy offensive line? What are you surprised? Like, honestly, if we want to be so much like the Jets, like, do we want to be that inept? Like, this is even crazy. People were all the Jets, the Jets, the Jets. Like, do you understand? We should be competing with the Bills, even with Tyler Huntley, because in the end, last week Tyler Huntley scored a touchdown. Right? I know he is playing, but he's still limbering. Tyler Huntley scored a touchdown, but it wasn't a passing touchdown. Like, that's how inept our passing offense is right now, because there's no balanced attack. So, guys, let's go through the NFL games, and then we can just go see if anything else is going on. Anything you'd like to say before we call it, just so we can enjoy the last hours before the Dolphins. Then we do our predictions for the Dolphins game. So today we have the Panthers heading into Soldier Field in a location that Greg knows pretty well against the Chicago Bears. So you have Andy Dalton again going against another rookie this year, the number 1 pick, Caleb Williams, and the Chicago Bears. Steve, who do you got?
I got Dalton.
Panthers at home for the Bears against the Panthers. And Robert Hunt.
Oh, at home at the Bears. Oh, okay. I
Panthers are facing the Bears in Soldier Field. Who do you got?
The Bears should win this game. Okay. The Bears should win this game. But Andy Dalton's playing pretty good, so I don't know. But the Bears should win this game.
Greg?
Well, the Bears will win.
Okay. I agree. Bears will pick up the victory. I don't think it'll be a pretty game, but we'll see what happens there. Then this is actually a divisional game, a tough game. The Ravens going into Cincinnati to tackle the Bengals. Who do you got in this game, Greg?
I like Cincinnati.
Wow.
I like Cincinnati in this game. They're rounding out, and I think Cincinnati's going to win this.
And Steve?
Ooh, I'm going to say Cincinnati as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to say Cincinnati as well.
I'll put it to you this way. If my hope, Bobby's hope, would have been that we didn't have mid-running backs, as bad as we have been, could you imagine if Tyler Huntley would be your quarterback and Derrick Henry was your backup, was your running back?
Wow.
You have Derrick Henry on the field, you have a chance to win this football game, no matter who you are. Lamar Jackson could be having an awful game. Just hand the ball to Derrick Henry. You saw it last game. He completely changed the foundation of the game after the first drive. So any team with Derrick Henry, I have faith in. So I'm going with the Ravens today against the Bengals.
I thought Derrick Henry was washed.
Yeah, right. Then we have the Browns, who are struggling with that quarterback that people in Miami wanted. Oh, my God. Imagine we had Deshaun Watson. Oh, my God. Going into Washington to face Jaden Daniels, who has the greatest completion percentage of over 82%, with Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson Jr. and Taylor McLaurin and that group against the Washington Commanders. Who do you got in that game, Steve? Browns versus Commanders.
Oh, I'm taking the Commanders all the way, man. Jalen Daniels has got the hot hand right now. That team is playing well.
Greg?
Washington's a well-coached football team. It's really that simple, and they're getting outstanding quarterback play right now. It's Washington.
Me too. I agree. Washington. Honestly, I feel bad for Myles Garrett. Like, to be that team and to be that offensive line, to have that Drek. Maybe Nick Chubb will make a difference, but honestly, Deshaun Watson is such a distraction on that team. Now, here's a game where I think we'll talk about another divisional game, which we thought would be actually a barn burner, but not very much. You have the Indianapolis Colts and Joe Flacco, who I would love to have as our backup quarterback, going into Jacksonville to face a team that's even worse than us, and Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Greg, do the Jacksonville Jaguars get their first victory of the season today in Jacksonville against the Colts and Joe Flacco?
If Richardson was the quarterback, I would have said yes. With Flacco, I like the Colts.
Steve?
Colts,
me too. Joe Flacco, because they're going to use Jonathan Taylor. They're going to give Michael Pittman the ball when he needs it, and they're going to play a good game there. Now we have this is probably the game of the day, game of the week. The Buffalo Bills, after a tough loss against the Baltimore Ravens, go into Steve's hometown of Houston, Texas, to face the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud and all that group. Steve, who do you got? We are Texans or Bills Mafia? Who do you got today?
Oof. Man, they're playing at home, and the Texans. I think it's gonna be a good game. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with Buffalo. Unfortunately, Buffalo.
Who do you got today, Greg?
I think the Texans and big.
Me too. I
don't think the Bills secondary can handle the Texans passing attack.
No, I don't think so.
Good point.
I think the Texans have had a moment, but playing at home. If this was in Buffalo, I would take the Bills. But this is at home. It's a loud crowd. They're playing well. You can't cover Diggs, Collins, and you can't just and they also and their running backs mixing. It's just too much firepower, and that defense will do enough to sustain it. I just we don't care. They're 4-2, Greg. Brett, I don't really care. I don't really care. Okay, next we got the Raiders and Gardner Minshew and that group. I think Crosby, should be back today, going in to a team that we appreciate because of the way they played last week. Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos in Mile High City. That's also another divisional game. Greg, you got the Broncos or the Raiders?
So there's only 2 games on the schedule this week that have a over/under of in the 30s.
Our game?
Dolphins, New England, and this game. Okay, shows you how bad the offenses are for these 4 teams.
Yeah.
The Broncos have played well the last 2 weeks. Their defense is playing well. I can't pick against them right now, and they're at home. So I'm going to go with the Broncos.
Steve?
Yeah, I got to go with the Broncos today too.
Yeah, it's a home game. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
Next, we have the Cardinals, 1-3. Another divisional game. A lot of divisional games this week. Most of them are going into San Francisco with no Christian McCaffrey for an extended period of time, and the San Francisco 49ers. Do you take the Shanahan run offense, or do the Cardinals upset San Francisco at home today? Steve?
I got to go with San Francisco, although I believe the Arizona Cardinals are going to give them a good fight.
Greg?
Yeah, I am going with San Francisco as well, but I do believe this is going to be a closer game than what people think. It's not. I would not take San Francisco -7 here, and I'll say this too. All right, another one of those irrelevant things. Brock Purdy has 1,130 passing yards this year. The Dolphins have 1,180 total yards.
The 12 points a game. It's unbelievable. 12 points a game. It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
Man, we went from #1 offense in football to 32.
And by the way, with the same, and you want to know what? The crazy part about all that is, as a segue, it's not like our offensive talent has gotten worse. That's the sad part.
Correct.
It's the same offensive talent.
Same offense.
Same offense.
Same talent.
Which means, it's literally, it's like every day you're so stubborn, you're going to go to work in the same direction every single day. Even if if you're told that bridge is closed today, you're still going to drive over that bridge because you have a shortcut over that bridge that your car can fly over that bridge. That's our offense. We think that our way is the only way. It's insane. Next, this is a very interesting game, but maybe it'll be easy pickings for you. Got a Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love, a team that adjusted with Malik Willis for 2 games, going into SoFi Stadium to face a team without Puka Nacua, without Cooper Kupp. Greg, I know you're going to be going there in a couple weeks when we face the Rams. Who do you got? Rams, Packers.
I like the Packers in this game. The Rams are just too hurt. I as much as I like Stafford, and I think he will make plays in this game, I think the Packers are going to basically come away with this one.
Steve?
Packers for sure.
Yeah. Jordan Love is a great player. And LaFleur adjusts. Did you happen to notice when Malik Willis played quarterback, they did not play like he was Jordan Love?
No.
That's what happens when you are a good coach. Yeah. Next, you have the Giants and Daniel Jones going into the 12th man, and the Seattle Seahawks. I personally think before I give my thing, Seattle Seahawks are the most underwhelming 3-1 team in the NFL, but they've had a schedule where teams are playing. They got exposed last week, but what are your thoughts on, because Jared Goff went for 18 for 18. Like the guy was nuts last week.
And he caught a touchdown pass.
He caught a touchdown. He has more touchdown receptions than Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
New York Giants against Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Steve, easy.
Man, I can't go against the Giants. That's my wife's favorite team.
Oh, you can.
I'm going to say the Giants just out of spite.
Oh, God. Steve?
I said Giants.
Sorry, Greg?
Yeah, I think this is Seattle, and Seattle's going to go 4-1. And one of the reasons why they're going to go 4-1 is because they've played some bad teams to start the year.
They remind me of a team.
Yeah, and you got to beat bad teams. You know, that's what's going on.
Well, I think honestly they're playing like the Dolphins did last year. You beat the teams you need to beat, and you lose to the teams that are good. Next game of the tonight, we have a game where I think this is going to be offense versus pure defense, but I think it'll be an exciting football game nonetheless. Got the Dallas Cowboys versus the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin. So who do you got tonight, Steve? The Cowboys or the Steelers? In Pittsburgh. It's not at home for the Cowboys.
In Pittsburgh.
Another team that's 3-1 that does deeper overall.
Yeah, I don't like the Cowboys. I cannot stand the Cowboys, but I got to pick them.
Greg?
I like Pittsburgh at home. Dallas is a different team when they're away.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And TJ Watt.
And TJ Watt's going to wreak havoc on that team.
He's a game wrecker.
So I'm going with the Steelers.
And can you imagine our secondary right now with Jalen Ramsey, and not Javon Holland, because Javon Holland's had a mid-season. Like, I wouldn't give him big money, and then we're not going to be forced to give big money to Jalen Phillips either. So there'll be some cap space. But I imagine we still had Minkah Fitzpatrick. Like, to have a guy in that backfield, I'm saying he's a reliable player for the Steelers. He can make a difference. I predict he will have an interception off of Dak Prescott today. That'll be a prediction for me today. And tomorrow you got a battle of a team that started off very hot, but now has basically come back to life in the New Orleans Saints, heading into the team with the worst hospitality of any team in the NFL. But I'll take that as long as I have 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. And the Kansas City Chiefs, who have hardly used any. Rashee Rice is not going to be there. Travis Kelce hasn't played very well. But somehow this team is 4-0. Greg, Chiefs, Saints. Did the Saints upset the Chiefs tomorrow?
Not a chance. I think the Chiefs, this is going to be a big one. I think Mahomes is going to get right on this in this game. And I would expect at least one long touchdown from Worthy.
Yeah. Steve?
I'm going to take the Saints. No, I'm only kidding. I'm taking Casey.
You're crazy. You're crazy.
No,
I would never have let you do that. So, guys, those are the games for this week. Now, the only game we have to talk about, which we've been dreading for the last hour, is the team with the worst offense. By the way, am I mistaken? Did PFF rank our defense in the top 10 so far this year? Is that actually possible, Steve?
I don't know. I haven't looked. I thought they were somewhere like 10, 15. Yeah, but
isn't that crazy? Our defense is quietly 10th. It's bad, and because they adjust in the second half, right? Like, I don't believe this defense is going to cost us this game. The defense will do enough, because in this league with this offense, if all cylinders, 20, even if the defense gave up 20 points, we should be able to win this football game. Like, it should be.
Yeah, for sure. So, the way the defense is playing, if our offense, as you said, is working on all 8 cylinders, we should be okay. You know, they're playing okay. In fact, the defense might even be a little better because the offense is playing well, and the defense doesn't have to be on the field as much. So
yeah. Just to give everyone an update, if you care, the Jets are still down, but they're coming back slowly. They have the ball on their 15-yard line. but with 11-14, we're just it started the fourth quarter, but the Vikings are still up 17-7. So let's see if Brian Flores' defense can hold the Jets and pick up a victory to make our lives a little bit easier in the AFC East. Because at least we take pleasure when our team struggles, when the Jets and the Bills and the Patriots lose. So, Greg, since you're the negative one and I'm the negative one, we'll leave the hopium up to Real Talk Rants, and we'll let him have the final say because he seems to be the more positive one of the three of us today. Do the Miami Dolphins with OBJ, Raheem Mostert, Teron Armstead, Kendall Fuller, all back, David Long, do they actually go into Foxborough and pick up a victory? And if they do, what is the final score, win or lose?
I can't predict them to win a game until I see this offense do something. Okay, and I it's going to be a low scoring game. And if it becomes a high scoring game, it's going to be kind of like the end of the Tennessee game, right? Where there's going to be a lot of points scored late that don't really matter. So so I don't see this team stopping the run. Okay. And I don't see us having the ability to run the ball. And at this point, if Tyler Huntley can connect on a couple really big plays with our speedy wide receivers, we can win. But we haven't even attempted that for 2.5 weeks with a backup quarterback. So I don't have any faith. I see this being a low scoring game. I see it being like a 16-12, 16-13 game. And I think New England's actually going to win.
I'll give you 16-13. Okay. I'll go. So if the Dolphins were to win this football game and they win it by a field goal, 6 points, 6 points, I will still be on this post-game show annoyed. Because with the offensive power you supposedly have from last year, with the team that where they are in the lineup, where they were sort of like our 2020 football team, this should be an easy win for us. We also never struggle against New England without Tua, right? If Tua was in the lineup, it'd be an easy win because we always beat New England with Tua in the lineup. But until the head coach proves me wrong, until he tells me that he has learned from his mistakes, utilizes his weapons the way they need to, not have the highest paid wide receiver duo in the NFL by a country mile, have 100 yards each or even 75 yards each. The fact that Tyreek Hill has like an average of under 50 yards in the last 3 football games, I don't give the Dolphins a chance in this because when a team is struggling and lacking confidence, I don't care who the players are. The players are too laid back for as bad as things are right now. Joking around, wearing the big thing. Oh, am I getting traded? Am I this or that? It's nonsense. I see this being a very low-scoring game as well. I feel it being a snooze fest. I feel myself getting annoyed by McDaniel very early on. I could even see Jason Sanders being dumb enough not to kick it to a touchback and them kicking the ball into the zone and them getting a return for a touchdown today. A special teams and Danny Crossman crapping his pants today. I can actually see that happening. So for me, I'm going to make this final score New England 17, the Dolphins 9. I don't even think they score a touchdown.
Ooh, wow. Man, I'm so disappointed of all this negativity about this football game. I really am. This is bad, guys. This is bad. You guys are off the wagon for sure.
I run the wagon.
Yeah. Look, guys, Miami's playing bad. Let's face it. They really are. But look, New England has played some good teams this year. They played some good teams right at the start, right at the jump of the season, right? I think the Miami Dolphins are going to play better this game. I really do. I think we're going to see a little more offense than what we have seen. I think the defense is going to play the same. I think they're going to play their typical defense. Okay, top 10, top 15 defense. But I don't think it's going to be good enough. and I think the Miami Dolphins are going to give us some false hope this game. I think they will score some touchdowns, but I don't think they're going to win. I think New England wins this game 20-17.
Wow. Okay.
So there is some hope there. There's a silver
There's
lining
zero
there.
hope. But no, the only
They
hope we
score
have.
17 points. Come on.
17
Let me
points.
ask you something. Well, I want to see if you change your mind. If the Dolphins lose today,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk about it on the post game because we'll actually have facts. But before we call it a show, if the Dolphins lose today, should somebody during the bye lose their job? Not will, should.
Yes.
At 1-4.
So
Who should lose their
Greer.
job?
Greer.
They're not. It's not happening.
Well,
Because if
Okay.
they fire Greer, they could bring in
It's
the
not
general
happening.
manager.
No,
Yeah.
they're not going to do
oversee
it.
McDaniel for the rest
Hold
of the
it. Hear
year.
me out. Hear me out. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it in game 5. If they're going to do it all, they're going to do it at the end of the season because he's got to do a lot of administrative stuff. Get this, for the next
gonna let
general
him?
manager to come in.
They're going to let
Yeah, they're
him?
going to. Yeah, sure. And
So you're going to make
and
your team worse before they get better.
Chris Greer isn't the one playing on the field. All right, it ain't going to change the personnel on the field, right?
No.
So they've got to let it play out throughout the year as far as Chris Greer goes. And at number 1, I don't think that Ross is going to go outside of the organization to put somebody in charge. They'll probably hire Brandon Shore as the general manager
Oh, Jesus.
because he's going to put somebody in there that's comfortable. He's comfortable with. So I don't think it's going to happen. But should it happen? If anything, it's going to be Mike McDaniel. It will not be Chris Greer.
Oh, I will lose. I will be more excited about that than when we got Tyreek Hill.
So
Or Miami Miracle, by the way.
So when you said should somebody be fired, okay, I took it more on the player side than I did the coaching side. The only coach or anybody that would be fired would be Crossman, the special teams guy. If there's a bad special teams day today and it was perceived that cost them the game, he could be gone. All right.
Yeah.
But
I can see that.
I do think there's a very real possibility that if they lose this game, there'll be a couple guys who played this game, maybe a starter or two that get cut. Just outright cut, outright released. And to send a message. That's the Gase thing after the Cincinnati game where they basically cut 3 offensive linemen, type of thing. There has to be repercussions at 1-4 going into the bye. There has to be
Because you have 2 weeks to make adjustments.
because you have 2 weeks to make adjustments. This team cannot go 1-4 with this pansy soft schedule. All right, that they had in these first 5 weeks. You played 3 of the worst teams in football, and you're going to go 1-4. If that's the case, there has to be repercussions. So I was thinking more on the player side than I was the coaching side, but yes, there will be repercussions.
Okay. Any final words before we go watch this snooze fest of a football game?
Well, I fell asleep in the third quarter of the Monday
I
night
know.
game. Okay,
That's why I said it.
I was up at 4 a.m. to catch an early flight, so that had something to do with it. But yeah, there was nothing to be excited about, right? Look, this is going to be for Miami to win. It's got to be old school football.
Yeah,
It's got to be three yards on a cloud of dust. If it's 4th down, you punt the football. Okay, don't go for it. If you're in field goal range, you kick the field goal. Okay, points are a premium. This is a field position, low scoring, grinded out type of football game. You have to have that mentality going in. If they don't, they're not going to win again. Again, if the plan is flawed, no matter how well you execute the plan, you're going to lose. I keep saying that over and over again, and every plan so far this year has been flawed.
I love what Grant had to say before you go, Steve, is that Did you happen to notice when he got injured, Phillips, which by the way is on the coaching staff because they should never have let him back into the game if he was hobbling on the sideline, no matter what he wanted. He didn't give Phillips a hug and a kiss before he went into the dressing room. Only his BFF. I'm sure they have movie night in one of their movie theater rooms. They watch popcorn. They probably cried during The Notebook together. You never know, right?
And I'm sure Brent knows how just to say things and phrase things to make Evan,
But that's why he enjoys me. That's why he enjoys me. Steve, any final words?
No, man. I mean, it's gonna be. I'm just gonna watch the game and expect the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah,
that's all I can say, really.
I want to apologize to Mike McDaniel tonight. I want to see something different. I've given him so many chances. People have ripped me a new one, but now people are coming to jump on the McDaniel McFired bandwagon. Not because I don't like the guy. It's just I think he thinks he's better than what he is. And he has not learned to adjust like the other coaches in the NFL. He doesn't see the forest for the trees. And I just want him to do that. Utilize your skill players. Honestly, if you don't trust Tyler Huntley, play Wildcat for all I care. Put Tyreek Hill at the snap of the ball. I couldn't care less. Do something different. Anything to get us excited about this football team again. Because we're supposed to have the greatest show on surf, but we don't seem to. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. You're going to catch myself, Steve, and Greg on the post-game show, 8 p.m. Eastern. No win, lose, or laughter. Because no matter what we do on this network, we love our Dolphins, no matter how much they put us through all this pain. Guys, like and subscribe. And always, as I find my last thing, fins up.
Fins up.